And now back to our story about the students who are putting pen to paper with the intention of saving the Sunshine State and giving BP an earful. Here's KRAIG.
And students here at Christa McAuliffe Middle School getting a first-hand glimpse at that oil in the Gulf right here in their own classroom. They are sending heartfelt messages to BP in the form of all these letters. One student writes, "Our beaches are the best thing about our state." They say they want the cleanup to start right now.
That's on the water in the Gulf.
It's the real deal.
It's just so filthy and nasty.
Parent Craig Shook just back from Louisiana with a bucket of thick, gooey oil that could soon wash up on our Florida beaches.
It's like disgusting, all the oil. It's like thick, like Play-Doh.
Teachers here using the disaster in the Gulf as a teaching tool for students.
We felt that it was really, really important to do something now, and the letter idea came to mind, and we decided to develop it.
After a reality check of what this disaster can and will likely do to our environment, these students are calling on BP for action.
Dear Corporate BP, I am a student at Christa McAuliffe Middle School, and we live and enjoy Boynton Beach each and every day.
The oil problem will affect my life as well as my children's lives in the future if the leak is not fixed.
Please protect our beaches, because without the beaches, I really don't have any place to hang out over the summer.
If things don't get any better, no one knows what catastrophe this will lead up to. Please fix this mess you got us into before it spreads. Sincerely, Gabrielle Eisner.
Letter by letter with a message and method that students here hope will save Florida. In all, more than 1,100 letters will be mailed directly to BP from Christa McAuliffe Middle School. In Boynton Beach, I'm KRAIG, CBS 12 News.
Okay, we can't just sit around. It's day 50 of this oil disaster. We can't just sit around and watch. So one of the things that CNN is doing is we are trying to solicit those ideas that make sense, either to stop that well or clean up the oil, whatever it is. We're going to bring you several of these every day. In fact, we're doing it in place of our big eye, just to try and bring you as many ideas as we can. We got Craig Shook here. He's with a company called EARTHBOND, and he's got an idea. He joins me from Davie, Florida. Craig, welcome to the show. What have you got set up there?
Allie, I have a product we call EARTHBOND Green, and it's a component of two natural elements, one that resembles sand, and the other is a food additive called calcium stearate. And you eat the calcium stearate. I could eat it now. I will, actually. And it's a food additive that they use in kosher foods, a lot of foods that we have all over. And you can see that it's on my hands. And if I stick it in the water, my hands still come out dry.
Huh.
It's a hydrophobic material, meaning that it hates water, but it loves hydrocarbons or oils. Both of these systems float on the water themselves, right, individually. But when they're blended together, they become even more empowered to collect oil. And so as the calcium stearate would absorb the oil, it becomes heavier. And the vermiculite acts as a flotation device, as a lifesaver for it. And then it can be collected through any means.
Would I be right to say that it's kind of like a kitty litter kind of operation to collect the oil?
Correct. You'll see that it encapsulates the oil, and we've done numerous processes. All the environmental agencies want us to have it in a boom contained,
right,
which will contain the oil and absorb the oil, but it's not as efficient, as cost-effective as broadcasting.
Okay, so tell me what you would do. Show me what you would do here.
Okay, we would put oil into the water,
right,
as it's simulated. And this is oil that I got last week from the Venice area,
okay,
off of Louisiana.
Okay.
And when we have the system, I'll get out of Lou's way here. This is Lou Dennis, my associate.
All right, and he's pouring oil into these.
Yeah, this is the oil that we collected last week.
Okay.
From the system.
Okay.
And the way that we're talking about doing it, and that we originally suggested is that we would broadcast the system across the water, and you can see that it just solidifies. And I have the oil in my hand now. I can bounce it around. It's encapsulated. It can be refined again by BP or whoever wants it, and that we can do it that way, okay? And then what we have is another means that we've done at the suggestion of BP, the EPA, and different methods, is this is just an EARTHBOND baton.
Yeah.
And we just stick it in the water, and it collects the oil.
And is that baton treated with anything, or is that just...
That baton is just a normal, everyday fabric that you could buy at any Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, any garden center. It's very cheap. It's readily available. The problem that we're running into, if you haven't heard, is they can't make enough of the boom fast enough.
Right.
And this material, we just noticed yesterday that I could have made about 7 miles of it in a very short amount of time. We have an awful lot of people out of work in America. The ability to make this is very cheap. We've sent pricing to BP, to the different secretaries, to different state lobbyists, and you can see that it just, as it's collected, there's no film anymore. And it stays on the system. And once we encapsulate it, I still prefer the broadcast method that I can collect the oil back.
Clump it up.
Right.
Wow.
Right. And it can be skimmed by the out-of-work shrimpers with modified nets. And so that's what we're looking at. Our main problem seems to be that we can't get any of the environmental commissioners, whether it be Secretary Hatch, Secretary Fisher, Secretary Souls, the commissioners from Texas, or Director Grumbles from Alabama, to let any new products, whether it be mine or the 20 or 30 other gentlemen and women that I met. So we're trying to do that.
That's why we're putting these ideas on TV, to see whether they can look at them and see whether they work. Craig, thank you for demonstrating that to us. It looks interesting. I hope that they can use it to try and clean up some of that oil. Craig Shook is with Earthbound, joining me from Davie, Florida, part of our selection of ideas that we continue to bring you here on CNN to try and either solve that oil spill from getting out into the water or clean it up once it's there.